Thank you. Please be seated. I'd like to thank everybody for being here today for this graduation ceremony for the Galveston County Veterans Treatment Court. Before I end up getting into the actual ceremony, I want to thank some of the officials that are here today. First thing I want to do is thank Galveston County District Court Judge Carrie Neves. I'd also like to thank Chief Cram from Lee City Police Department. I'd like to thank Chief Boyle from the Galveston Police Department. Captain Franklin from the Galveston Police Department. And Chief Morales from the Dickinson Police Department. Additionally, we have some distinguished guests from the Red Jacket Group, Marine Corps League of Galveston, and that is Art Vega, and Richard Torres. I see a number of police officers in here today, and I'd like just to take this chance to thank all the police officers that are here in attendance, as well as all the veterans that are in attendance. It's because of the veterans, the police officers, that we're able to go to sleep at night and be safe. So thank you. And if I've missed any elected officials, please let me know now. Uh-oh.
I'm good.
You're good?
Not me.
County Commissioner Joe Juice.
County Commissioner Joe Juice. Generally, the Galveston County Judge Mark Henry does the presentations for these ceremonies. He unfortunately can't be here today, and I know that he's unhappy that he can't be here today. I believe you're going to have a video from him at the end discussing how he's unhappy he can't be here today. But this does give a chance for me to go talk to you. Usually when a prosecutor, and that's who I am, I'm Assistant District Attorney with Galveston County, and one of my duties is working with the Veterans Treatment Court. But usually when a prosecutor is talking to a large group like this, it's because eventually I'm going to try to convince 12 of you to put somebody in prison. And I'm glad that today I'm here instead to honor two individuals who are getting out of the criminal justice system. We have two individuals here that served honorably for their country, and they've deserved the chance they've earned, and they've actually capitalized on chance by making it through the Galveston County Veterans Treatment Court program. So thank you. I'll be talking more about them in just a little bit. But before we get on to our graduates, we have a guest speaker today. Our speaker is Philip McCulloch, Jr., but he likes to go by Sergeant Mac. Now, Sergeant Mac was in the United States Marine Corps for 7 years. He deployed to multiple combat zones, and he ended up getting the Purple Heart for getting wounded, a Gold Star for that Purple Heart for getting wounded again, and he got the Silver Star. And for those of you that are unfamiliar with military decorations, the Silver Star is one of the highest decorations the United States military gives to servicemen. In fact, it's only given for extreme gallantry in the face of an enemy combatant. So we're very happy to have Sergeant Mac here. And just so you know, Sergeant Mac actually lives here in Galveston Island. If you've ever seen Sergeant Mac's gun shack on 61st Street, that's him. He's here with his wife, Lindsay, their 4 dogs. I believe he's writing a book about his experiences. And right now, I'd like to have him up here so he can speak with you.
How y'all doing today? I hope well. It's an honor to be here. I'm from Galveston. I wasn't born here originally, so I'm not a BOI, but I wish I was because I love this place. I grew up here. I grew up here causing problems. So when I went off to the Marine Corps, I was very troubled. You know, I was absolute juvenile delinquent. I was 17 years old. I didn't know what I wanted to do in life, and I knew that there was a war going on. Didn't really know what was going on with the war. I was too young and immature to understand, you know, combat and the politics that go into it and what our country was doing. So I said, well, I'm going to join the Marine Corps. You know, if you're going to go to the war, I felt like, you know, I was going to go fight. I had nothing better to do. I just graduated high school. I didn't have any skills that I thought at the time, besides my physical attributes. And everybody said, well, if you're dumb, then join the Marine Corps. So I went down to the recruiting office, and he asked me why I should be allowed to join the Marine Corps. And it never clicked in my head that it was a brotherhood and it was something you had to earn. So I explained to him, I said, because I want to serve my country. He said, that's not good enough. Tell me why. I didn't have an answer. So he told me to get out of his office. Drove back down to Galveston and asked my dad, which was a Marine, and I said, hey Dad, why do I want to be a Marine? Just figure it out, I'm not telling you. So I thought about it for a couple weeks, and I went back to the recruiter and I said, I want to be a Marine because I have nothing else left in Galveston for me. I'm messing up left and right, I don't know what else to do. And he said, okay, sign these papers, we'll go take the ASVAB. So I went off, I was 17, I went to MCRD San Diego. I was a recruit there, graduated, went to the School of Infantry. It's kind of an eye-opener for me because I got to boot camp, it wasn't a big deal, getting yelled at all the time. My dad was a Force Recon Marine, it happened every day. So it really didn't intimidate me, but when I got to the School of Infantry, it's no longer you get punished as a group. It's where, you have to do it by yourself. I mean, they're not going to hold your hand, you fail, then you go to another MOS, and it hits your pride, and you couldn't do that. So for me, it was really a struggle because I couldn't have anybody else to lean on, but I had to push myself through it. So that's when I started to learn some mental fortitude and self-reliance at that time. So then after that, you go onto your unit, and I was in my unit about 3 months, and the battalion commander came out to the field, and he said, we're deploying to Iraq in 3 weeks, hope you guys are ready. And I was still 17 at the time. I was thinking, oh crap, like here we go. So we deployed, and I went to Ramadi, Iraq at that time, and I was thinking, I'm going to war, and I'm, top dog, a Marine, you getting to deploy. And I remember we were flying in on 46s. For these who don't know, the helicopters with 2 rotors, and the portholes on the side that are round. And I looked out, and there's some firefights going on down there, and I was thinking, well, here it is. This is it. This is what I asked for. And now I actually get the answer of what I asked for because I had no clue at the time. And so body tightened up a little bit. We'll leave it there. And so we landed, did my deployment, came back. I still wasn't happy. I felt like I needed to push myself more because when you become stagnant in life and you become complacent, no matter what you're doing, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you work for the city, you work for yourself, you work, for a grocery store. None of that matters. I mean, everybody has a job and we do our part. But if you're just going to sit there and not try and strive yourself and put your stamp of approval on everything you do, then there's no point in doing it at all. And I was starting to learn that in the Marine Corps. I would have Marines, and I'd try and train them, and everybody trains Marines. When you're an NCO, it's what you do in the infantry. But I wanted to make sure they knew they were trained by me, and they had my stamp of approval. So if somebody came up to them and said, "Hey, who trained you? Who's your NCO? Who's your platoon sergeant? Who's your squad leader?" It would not be a bad reflection on me or a bad reflection on the guys that came before me that worked hard for that position. So I went on, and I was getting ready to get out of the Marine Corps, and my battalion commander pulled me aside and said, "Hey, I think you should go to the MESEP program. You're really intelligent. You should try and become an officer." I laughed at him and said, "I've been hazing junior officers for about 5 years, sir. I don't think they want me at OCS." And so I decided not to go, and I re-enlisted to go to Afghanistan with another battalion. When I went, they were given bonuses and, to go to different units for combat, guys that had been in combat. The Marine Corps, we give out a award for actually seeing combat action, and so they were paying a big bonus, and I was like, well, man, it's great money, I'm getting to deploy again. And so I did all the paperwork, and they denied me. They told me, no, you couldn't go, you have too many tattoos. So when I joined the Marine Corps, you can't, you're allowed to have as many tattoos as you wanted, and they changed the policy, and I was already in. Well, you're grandfathered to an extent. If you want to stay in that unit, that's what your grandfather is. Doesn't mean you can go to any other unit. And I'd realize there's a consequence for every action, even if it's passive or intentional. There's always a consequence, whether it's good or bad. So I pulled every string I could, asked every favor, sold my soul to be able to go to this unit. And I was blessed. I knew the right people, and they got me over to 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines, where I went to Afghanistan. When I got there, it was really disheartening to me. And I don't like to talk poorly about my Corps, but the unit was it was a joke. Nobody took it serious. Nobody had been to combat in a couple years. They weren't in a unit that deployed a lot to Iraq, which is where the Marine Corps was going at the time. We're getting ready to go to Afghanistan to clear what they call the Sangam Valley. Pretty dangerous place. The British have been there 4 years, lost about 150 guys, AIA, and about 700 WIA. So I understood the effects of it. I've been in Ramadi, Haditha, some of the tougher fights that we had saw in Iraq. And I pushed my guys. They hated me. Literally, they hated me. These guys, they would do anything for me not to go on a field op with them. I had them slash my tires one time. They did not like me. So we get there and we deployed, and I'll tell you, it was an honor to serve with those guys, and it clicked in their head that this guy is just not angry and crazy and mean to us all the time. It's because he cares. He has experience and he knows. And I got hurt, the first time I got hurt, it was, I don't know, maybe you just hear it so much and you're so desensitized to it. I got hurt, I kind of laughed. I was just like, okay, I guess hopefully I'll be back out here with my guys, and they medevaced me. I was at a British hospital for a while, and I came back out, and I remember my first sergeant told me, he's like, go on patrol, don't get hurt, Mac. And I said, okay, no problem. I got shot in the leg the same day. I was just like, man, I'm in so much trouble. And so I got back, and I was coming home, and I wasn't myself anymore. I could tell, when you deploy a lot and back to back to back, you don't have time to calm down and see the side effects of combat and losing friends and just being in that heightened environment all the time, even if you weren't in combat, or direct combat, being in a combat zone and knowing that everybody you look at probably doesn't like you and wants to kill Americans, it's just to be honest. And so I struggled a little bit, and I realized I need to keep busy. So I went to a couple career courses through the Marine Corps, became a drill instructor, moved down to San Diego, and I started making Marines. It was phenomenal. And I guess it was just my time. I was helping a corpsman of mine that had been injured. He was shot in the hip, so he couldn't use his right leg. And we were lifting a couch up in my truck, and I coughed and broke 2 ribs that had been fractured when I got hurt the first time. They told me I couldn't be an infantryman anymore. And I love every veteran. Every job matters. It does, honestly. And I know that, at the time I probably was not mature enough to understand that or respect that everybody's job made a difference, And I told them, well, if I can't be in the infantry, I don't know what else to tell you guys. You send me home. And so I'm sitting in a hospital in San Diego, and they're like, no, we'll give you an admin job, so I'm not doing it. And so 6 weeks later, I got retirement papers. And I was like, honestly, I thought my life was over. 7 years, I was 17 when I joined. The only thing I knew was the Marine Corps infantry. I was really good at it, and they weren't letting me back. So I just said, man, what am I doing with myself? So I got out, got divorced, I was drinking heavily. I could go down the list of things I did wrong. I'm sure you've all been there that have been in that situation. And I'll tell you, one of my friends now works for GPD. He pulled me aside one day and told me, you better get your act together. You're embarrassing yourself. Whoa, man, I'm embarrassing myself. You think you are telling me that, And it was a gut check. It first kind of, I don't know, settled with me oddly. I told my wife, I said, you believe this guy told me I better, change what I'm doing? Who does he think he is, And started thinking about it. I said, man, what is it that I do that makes me worth saying, Just because I was a Marine doesn't mean anything. I love the Marine Corps, I do anything for Marines, but that is another chapter in my book. That is the past. I appreciate it. I love the Marine Corps. I bleed, red and gold. Honestly, I do. And I would do anything for any Marine. But that was the past, and I needed to move on from that. I was living in that past. I was living in the sphere of, Sergeant McCulloch, Silver Star recipient. I just didn't do anything. I did what I wanted, and I wasn't productive in society. And I hear these people, oh, you should do more, you should do more. I was like, I did enough, is what I thought in my head. Well, it's never enough. That's what community's about, You got to take care of each other because everybody struggles. Let me tell you, I struggle every day still. The anniversary of my best friend being killed was December 7th. I woke up that day and I thought about it. I could do, it's just what you do. And I told my wife, I said, you know what? I'm going to go do something good today. She's like, what are you going to do? So I went and over to the shelter, picked up a couple of dogs. I'm a big dog person. We have 5 dogs now, by the way. And I took it for a walk and got it groomed, over at PetSmart. And people were like, why'd you do that? I was like, you know what? I just want to do something good. Like, to remember my buddy and to think about him. I just want to do something good in remembrance of that. Before, I would go grab a bottle of Jim Beam and I'd drink it until I blacked out. I'm not ashamed to say it. Because everybody has a past, and when you're not transparent, then you're fake. And if you're fake, I want nothing to do with you. Because at the end of the day, you wear your name on your chest and on your forehead, and everybody remembers your name. And it's not about what people think about you, it's about the legacy you leave behind. Because there are people before you, serving the Army, the Marine Corps, the Navy, the Coast Guard, that did phenomenal things, that have more courage than anybody could ever imagine. And for me, that illustrious bloodline we come from, we need to stand up for it. As veterans, our community is so tight-knit. I was talking to Jeff earlier. We are 7th ranked in the county for how many veterans we have. I didn't know we had that many, but it's like everywhere I go, I see a veteran, I always give my business card and I say, hey, you need anything, come see me. I don't know if I can help them, but I'm sure damn going to point them in the right direction, And you guys are trying to get help, and you got an honorable discharge. I know Matt busts his butt, to get y'all to stay in line and do work. You got to remember, you're not gonna die. Every day I wake up, I say I got my legs, I'm alive. My wife thinks I'm crazy, but we're not walking around minefields. We're not doing that anymore. We're blessed to live in a country where we have running water, we have cars, we have the opportunity to have a job. We're not oppressed. There's not genocide being committed. Kids aren't being molested. People aren't, intimidating and blackmailing your family, because that's what happens over there. And it's disgusting, and I hate it, but we're blessed to live in a country where that doesn't happen. So we've all made mistakes. I've made plenty of mistakes, Kevin Franklin checks on me often, just to make sure I'm doing all right, because it happens. But what you have to take away from this, because you probably won't remember much, is this is just the beginning. You guys graduating today, congratulations. I think it's phenomenal. It shows some internal fortitude. Your moral compass is pointing in the right direction, and you're getting back on your stool and going the right way. But don't mess up, Hold yourself to that standard. When you were held to a standard. You had somebody in charge of you. Veterans do very good in structure. We don't do good without structure. And that's something we have to change as a culture and a community. We have to learn how to adapt, overcome, and improvise, okay? And this program is just out of the world awesome. Nobody else gets that. I mean, that is something that you worked for. You earned it, honorable discharge. You served your country. But guess what? Somebody else messes up on the street. Where are they going? They're going to jail, prison. They're not getting the opportunity. So when you slack off, you show up late, you aren't doing what they tell you, you're not following the guidelines, you're spitting in their face and you're spitting in everybody else's face because they don't get that opportunity. But you also should walk around with badge of honor. I am a veteran. You are a veteran. That's awesome. You had the courage to say, you know what, during time of war, I'm going to go sign up for this military. I don't care if you're a cook, supply, admin, infantry, pilot, crew chief. It doesn't matter. You served your country in a time of war. That is important. And that is something you should be proud of every single day. And it doesn't matter if you struggle. Call somebody. Come by my store. My guys know. They're not, one's a vet, one's not. They know. Call me. I don't live far. I don't have much going on that's more important than helping somebody out in my life anymore. But at the same time, you got to hold yourself accountable. I'm not going to give you a hand out. I'm going to give you a hand up. And that's what they're doing here. So take this and run with it. Don't get complacent. Don't get lazy. Don't be like, oh, that was an easy way out. Because guess what? It's going to catch up with you, because in life it always does. I just want to say that I think what Galveston's doing here is phenomenal. You guys are blessed to have this opportunity. If you need anything, my store's right there on 61st Street. I'll make sure Matt gets my card, my cell phone number. Don't blow me up late at night, because my wife will probably wonder who the hell you are. But, shoot me an email, a text message, and, hey, I need to talk. Hey, I need some advice. I need somebody to talk to. I'm struggling right now. That's what we're here for. Maybe you might get a text message back. Well, brother, I'm struggling too. That may be what I send back. You never know where I'm going to be. It's an everyday battle. Went from the battlefield now to Galveston. So I'm super proud of you guys. I'm super honored to be here. It's just a blessing to be able to do this in my community that has done so much for me. And I get the opportunity to be here. So please, take it very serious, work very hard, and when you get done here, do not segregate yourself from them. Keep in touch with Matt. I guarantee you he'll answer the phone. If not, call me, and then I'll call him and yell at him. I want to say, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, and God bless y'all. Thank you very much.
Sorry, Max, before we go to hand out the awards, we also have a gift for you. This is a military challenge coin with the Galveston County Veterans Treatment Corps.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
So now it's time for the stars of the show. Our first graduate is an Army veteran. He served 3 years. He's actually a combat engineer. And for those of you guys who don't know, combat engineer is one of the more dangerous and I believe one of the most important jobs that you can have on the battlefield. He served in Iraq. He got a combat badge, and I'm very proud to have him up here. It's Specialist Fisher. County, I'm proud to present you your graduation plaque, your own challenge coin. Probably should have had you do it.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
You're relieved of your duty with Veterans Treatment Court. If you'd like to address the crowd, you can.
When I first got here, right before I joined the program, I had a lot of resentment, hatred, and I felt like I really couldn't trust anybody but myself. When I started this program, I started to see that there's like a lot of team building, and everybody was working together. And every time I needed help, everybody here was here to help me out. And I started to realize that maybe I was wrong. Maybe there is someone else. There's a lot of people out there that can help me. I know that y'all are still in the program, and one day y'all are going to be up here. My advice to y'all is they're trying to give us the tools to self-improvement. And it doesn't stop once you get this placard. It's a life choice. If you do it, till the time you die, you can't fail in life. That's all I got to say about that.
Before we have our next graduate come up, our next graduate was kind enough to participate in a video. So the county judge's office produced this video. We'd like to show it to you before we move on.
Whoa, hey, whoa.
I joined my senior year, and that was just after we had started bombing Iraq during the Gulf War. I was serious about going into the Air Force.
I've been trying to survive.
I've always been a lot stronger than I look, a lot tougher than I look. I loved weapons. It was such a perfect fit for me. By the time I had to cross-train into intelligence, I was running the loading shop on the flight line, and that was quite a feat. You don't see a lot of women running the weapons shops.
But you gotta keep your head up, oh, and you can let your head down, hey. You gotta keep
My best memory is the friendships I've built amongst the years and the pride I had in being able to do my job better than most of them. It took work. Everywhere I went, I had to do more than the other guys to prove that I could do it. For instance, when I first got out here to Ellington, I had to lift the gun loader head 6 consecutive times to prove that I could load the gun before they would give me a job. And they didn't require that of any of the guys they hired, you know? And I already had 8 years active duty experience.
Is it all worth it? Am I gonna turn out fine?
I learned so much, and now I'm just frustrated because I want to be able to share that knowledge and convert it. And it's so hard for me, but that's one of the things that I've learned here. And, you know, I didn't realize that I needed this. I didn't even know it was out there. But I really didn't realize how much I needed this until I got here. There's so many issues where you can't physically see the scars. And people think, especially with me being a female, you're just whining.
After rain, the sun will always come again. And
It felt like everything was falling apart, and I don't know where I'd be without Judge Henry and the people, the wonderful people. And Matthew Parrish has done so much. He really has. He has really come through for me in the coordination process and looking for help that I didn't know I needed, you know. And Dr. Henson and, you know, all of those guys. I just can't say enough about them. It has been a complete 180 for me. This program has helped me find out more about myself, so I know which direction I need to move. And that's forward. I can't keep looking back.
And keep your head up, and you can let your head down.
We all now have a little bit of an intro on Master Sergeant Dorman. Master Sergeant Dorman served in the Air Force for 23 years. She deployed to Iraq twice. She also deployed to Turkey in support of keeping a no-fly zone. A Master Sergeant's a big deal. Back when I was in the Army, if I was speaking to somebody that was the rank that Master Sergeant Dorman was, I had done something incredibly stupid. So It is an honor to have her in this program, and I'd like to come up and present her with her award. You're relieving your duty with Veterans Tribute Corps. If you would like to go, something proud of you.
I really, as you saw in the video, I can't say enough about the Veterans Treatment Corps. For everyone here that supports and helps out with the sport, these guys are incredible. And for everyone that's a part of it and for the future of veterans, please utilize the resource. There's so much that these guys are willing to help with that, you know, it is, like he said, it's a resource, it's a gift that keeps on giving. And if you utilize the resources, let them know what you need, and they will find it for you. And it keeps on going even after this flag. Just keep utilizing the resources and make it a lifelong part of you. Don't try and find your old self. Just try and get in touch with your old self and build a new self and move forward, always forward. Thank you so much.
Before we conclude with the message from the county judge, I just wanted to take a second to thank all the mentors that are here. Who can you raise your hand if you're one of our peer mentors that are here right now? Without these guys, we wouldn't be able to really provide what we need. And if any of the veterans out here are interested in becoming mentors for this program or for veterans in general, please see Heather over here with Gulf Coast. They're having some training on that tomorrow. Now, without further ado, the video from the county.
Congratulations to our graduates. I'm sorry I couldn't be there today. So for Specialist Fisher, Living the Dream, Hampshire, and the unofficial NCOIC of Veterans Court, Tech Sergeant Marcy Dorman, we wish you the best and keep in touch. A good friend of mine was a Thunderbird pilot, and he said that the team did 99% of the work and he got to have all the fun. So I would like to thank our team this afternoon for all that you do for our participants. So for Buss, Robinson, Melton, Parrish, Gottlieb, Mays, Henderson, and Henson, thank you for all you do. Keep up the good work. Specialist Hampshire and Tech Sergeant Dorman, you are relieved of duty with the thanks of a protected nation.